Hello, good morning. This is Professor Pramod Parajuli on July 19th. This session is about the ongoing process of what we have called Nepali Himali abundance, dream to design. It's an ongoing process involving dozens of individuals and dozens of groups working actively in different aspects of Nepali and Himali across the Himalayan sector. This is a brief summary in English for English speaking audience as a preparation for a meeting tomorrow. We are having tomorrow morning, May 20th. So it gives a summary in English for English speaking people so that I can more focus more on Nepali speaking during the meeting. So, to summarize, what we are working on is could Nepali and across the Himalayan sector there, the third pole, could we offer a kind of a civilizational perspective, civilizational pathways in a very troubled world, especially after what has happened to the climate and the coronavirus combined? We are in a disarray which we can observe and feel across the economic sector, the political sector, the cultural sector, the mass consumption, mass production. Everything is changing. Although our mind is not changing fast enough to accommodate what is this new phenomena about. So the way to give serious picture of the very fastly changing situation and deeply changing situation, I use the metaphor of epochal change. It's like the whole change, the epoch of the techno-industrial paradigm is shifting. Okay, so there were a lot of events in the human history, natural history, that were epochal changes, but here there is a significant difference. That is, the epoch itself had changed, change of the epoch. So, during this turbulent time, do Nepalese people and the Himalayan, across the Himalayas, because we are one of the most ecologically sensitive spot in the climate coronavirus is complex. That is the third pole, the Himalayas, the Hindu Kush Himalayas. And a lot of the unraveling is already happening. The snow is melting, the rainfall is disturbed. Even if it rains, it comes all in one in 15 minutes, in 30 minutes, and creates havoc, landslide, flood, all that. We have observed that. Amidst of all that, do the Nepali and the Himali cultural, natural complex, geological, biological complex, do we have something to offer? And this is an initiative to explore fully, deeply, what if there is that we can create, offer to the whole world a civilizational approach to how to still live and thrive in this tumultuous period and offer the world a pathway. And it looks like if we do work very deeply enough, engaging the nature culture complex, we actually might have that. And as all of you know, the Nepal Himalayan complex has always been a place of pilgrimage, place of retreat. People come there for getting away from their daily whatever they are involved in. So we could amplify that at a much larger level through this process. And this is the process. So I wanted to offer a very simplified, hopefully much more helpful, a kind of a conceptual scenario of what could those framework of civilizational offering could be. Civilizational offering from the Nepali Himali abundance landscape. So for that, I'm using a degree of freedom as a professor and a Stanford PhD, and have done some global travel and seen the world, met too many people. I want to give a very simple, like a conceptual approach. I call that peaceful prosperity for people and planet. Within that planet, I have plurispecies through pluriversal. Again, another word, pluriversal. I will explain later. Pedagogical, where we bring the design element. Pedagogical, meaning including the design pathways. So let's see whether this simple offering of peaceful, it has to be, first of all, we have always been peaceful nations within the Himalayan complex, and that would be our contribution to the world because it is also the land of Gautam Buddha, lot of nature, lot of cultures in a small area. Like in Nepal, we have about 125 linguistic cultural groups spread over vertical diversity from 500 feet to 2,000, 29,000 feet. That is the Mount Everest, Sagarmatha, Chamalungmo. So our approach would be always peaceful, mindful transformation of how we think the role of human. How could we be more beneficial member of the biospheric, ecospheric drama that is unfolding? So our approach will be always peaceful, but we have a history that through peaceful means we could achieve prosperity. And that will have to go beyond this developmentalist economic growth idea of scarcity, inequality, violence. See, we are looking for a model. We are digging deeper into such models already existing within the Nepali Himalayan landscape. Several dozens are already coming up, which we will be showcasing, interacting, highlighting, sharing during these different deliberations, different events, which I will talk in the next segment. So, what is a prosperity perspective, abundance perspective? And very interestingly, we also have a Mount Annapurna range, which already is giving us by the name Annapurna that this is a place of creating abundance, sharing abundance, demonstrating abundance. Anna means grain, Purna means full. So, in other words, full harvest. And I am one of the young people who grew up right in the lap of Ganesh Annapurna, the goddess of fertility, goddess of abundance, full harvest, who was actually, when I was 5, I was touched by her. And now I know what the significance of it is. So, in the name of Annapurna, abundance, Annapurna, Pluriversities, which I will talk a little later, why the coinage of the word Pluriversities, that we actually, the nature has already given us this mountain idea of full harvest, fertility, abundance in the name of goddess Annapurna. And all of you, most of you know Annapurna Sarkar. This is one of the best pilgrimage site, best travel tourism and all that. So that peaceful prosperity for people. People there, people everywhere, because what we are anticipating and wanting to do is to offer the Nepali Himalayan complex as a global living learning classroom. I coin it as living learning laboratories. We will find the suitable Nepali or a Himalayan name for it for now, or We also use the word Sikai Sala within the Jivan Sala. The life system is thriving and abundant, and within that, a learning system, learning sphere, is also abundant. And we would, through this initiative, we would like that abundant learning ecosystem. And there, by learning, we mean learning, unlearning, and relearning ecosystem available for Nepalese, all the people in the Himalayas, and for the whole world, because we believe we are endowed with that extra expression of nature. All those mountains, all those 6,666 river systems, water systems, streams, right? So we feel obliged that that is not just for us as a national boundary. That is a global biospheric heritage where we could create those models of how a river should be running. What is a healthy river? What is a healthy mountain? What is a valley? How should the soils be? How should the water be? You see? So, peaceful prosperity for people as a global classroom where they could experience the abundant nature, abundant culture, abundant economy that is not hit and run and based on extraction, but with respect of the planet. That's where I introduced the concept of plurispecies. That is more than human species. And here it's very important to stress it is not other than human because that's more Cartesian techno-industrial separation thinking. It is more than human, our fellow species, our friends. Without whom we will not be here. We share this biosphere with zillions of other species, including the earthworm, including the spider, including the birds, including the termite, and in collaboration with those plurispecies, we want to create peaceful prosperity, abundance for people and planet, meaning that we want to enrich the drama between the people and all the other species. And for that, like the Native American tradition, where they are saying we are all brothers, we have a Vedic saying, Sarvo Bhavantu Sukhina, that all species, all our relatives, all the actors in this biosphere should be happy, should be abundant, like that. So, peaceful prosperity for people and planet, that is our goal. And create it as a global classroom, demonstration, living learning laboratories in different sites. And we have identified a few where these examples, exemplary practices will be happening. We have identified about 15 at this point, but I'm sure we will have dozens more as once we begin practicing these and also offering these events, which I will talk in the next one. So, how is this going to happen? I have thought a little bit on that, and that could be through, again, several P's, that is, through pluriversal. This is a new word, pluriverse, pluriversal, and from that I have coined another word. It is pluriversities. Again, why am I not using the word university, multiversity, but pluriversities? Because in order to create that peaceful prosperity for planet, people and a planet, meaning plurispecies, we need a pluriversal worldview, I view, how to look at the drama, how the life is made possible in the whole biosphere. That is not only human affair. Human affair might be actually very footnote, very much like a secondary role. For example, now we are learning the role of mycelial network under our feet everywhere and in the forest more alive, more expressive. So the drama of the soil food web would be brought into this pluriversal eye view. Through this pluriversal eye view, and those would be integrated into the pedagogical systems of learning, unlearning, and relearning. They could be informal schooling and college system, and all over life. How people live their life is all a learning ecosystem. So, do you see now that through a very different kind of a pedagogical ecosystem by creating pedagogical ecosystem in these living learning laboratories where we will offer for the for children and youth who are like 10-year-old a design perspective how to create abundance by working with nature, not against nature. And for this, we are bringing from the best tradition of biomimicry, that is Janine Benyus and her work, permaculture design, and I have also mapped out something called socio-ecological ISER, uh, integrative socio-ecological regenerative design on how to harvest water, how to retain water, and how to recharge water, for example. How to make the dirt into a fertile soil rather than how now in the existing system the fertile soil is turning into dirt. We want to reverse that process, and for that we would bring carbon. What is the role of the carbon? What is the role of carbon dioxide? Nitrogen. So these design pathways for regenerative pedagogy would be our unique contribution. And some of those will be harvesting from our traditional peasant and indigenous traditions, which allowed us, made us capable of carving a life, very abundant, performative life, artful life, in those very slopey Himalayas and the mountain that come below that. We will harvest that, including the bamboo, the role of the bamboo, role of the agroforestry, medicinal plants. There are like right now, we have been working, identifying probably thousands of such design modalities that work with nature, not against nature, but while doing that, we enrich and enhance the functioning of nature. That same soil, when it becomes more fertile, it does wonder. And for that, we might bring even the technology like biochar, permaculture design, regenerative harvesting, for example. See, so it will introduce a lot of new approach to how to bridge between consumption and production, between market and the direct producer, and our goal is to kind of cut off that the divide between the who is producing and who is consuming, and we will create people who will be what we call prosumers. They are both producers and consumers, so that a more ethical and healthier approach, more equitable and just approach between the producer and consumer economy can be established. So the word would be prosumer, meaning producer as well as consumer. And for this, we will bring a lot from regenerative learning exercises, examples that are happening all over the world, adventure education, ecological education, experiential education, and in several slides we have offered like what could that be for climate, what could that be for health and well-being, what could that be for culinary, nourishment, from soil to supper, you see, watershed pedagogies, energy pedagogies, all that. So I will explain more of those in how we are envisioning an emergent process of creating these living learning laboratories in different vertical and horizontal complexes that offer that biocultural diversity. We are going to harvest those through these kind of acupressure hubs, which will be in different parts of the landscape, where we will emphasize, for example, one of them will be emphasizing on agroforestry model, another would be on health and nourishment model, but they will be learning from each other. So for now, I would conclude this session, and then we will do the other session on those different living learning laboratories in different sites. Thank you so much.